Good morning and welcome to the program today. Thank you for joining me and my guest. Today I have Emily Shay with us, and I'm telling you, God has done a work in this young lady's life. And we're going to get off to an early start here this morning, and we just know that you're going to be blessed by what God has done in her life. If you know anybody, man or woman, that has tried everything, they have shot up every drug, they have taken every pill, they have drank everything to numb their senses, to try to bring them peace. I want you to run call that person right now. We're going to give you just a moment to go call them up and say, there's a program on, and I want you to tune in and listen to what this young lady's going to share with you today, because it's going to be life-changing for somebody. Because you're going to find out if Jesus can do this for one person, he can do it for another. You know, he's no respecter of person. I've had a lot of guests. We have over 100 programs uploaded to YouTube. But when Emily began to share her story with me, I knew that she is one of the ladies that has a special gift. She's been delivered from some really intense things in her life. She is the woman that is a voice to help reach the women that this program is intended to reach. Every program is special. Every woman is unique. Each one of them has a special and unique story. But I know when the Lord called me to do this, the women that he wanted us to reach, and it was women that are searching for hope, looking for something to ease that pain, looking for somebody to love them just like they are. And today, Emily was one of those women, and she found that. And she found it through the one that we talk to you about every Sunday, and his name is Jesus. Emily has been through more in her 34 years than most people go through in a lifetime. But by grace, the Lord has delivered and brought her out. So this morning, I just want to welcome Emily Shay to the program today, and just let her come around and share some of what God has done in her life. Now, Emily is a poet. The Lord has gifted and anointed her to just write on in word, put in words what God has done in her life. And some of the poetry she wrote before her deliverance, and now some she has written since the Lord has delivered her and given her a reason to live. So this morning, Emily, welcome to Defining Moments. Thank you for coming to share what the Lord has done in your life. And I've asked Emily, we're going to do this program just a little different because there's a lot to cover, a lot to share. And I want her to share some of this poetry that she has written. And this morning I've asked her to begin the program while reading a poem she wrote back in her dark days, she calls them. And the name of this poem is called Take This.
Okay, take these thoughts out of my mind. Just tell me I will be fine. Lie to me if you have to. Just say anything to pull me through. Take me away from this hell called home. Make me feel like I'm not alone. Take my eyes and make them see everything that's wrong with me. Take my ears and make them hear. The words you say are unclear. They got mixed up inside my head. I twisted around everything you said. Take my mouth and shut it tight. The words I say are not all right. Everything that's stuffed inside is getting harder for me to hide. Take my wounds and make them heal. They're getting harder for me to conceal. Wipe the blood off of my skin and show me the world that you live in. Take my heart and remove the patch. Show me how I can detach. Tell me how to break away from this life that I've been enslaved. Take the evil inside my soul. Take the lies that I have told. Take my pain if you can. Take me back to where it all began. Take the madness out of my head. Take the hunger that's left unfed. Take the hurt that I've caused myself. Take everything that I have left. Take the anger before I snap. Take the anxiety before I collapse. Take the hate I feel towards the world. Take away this scared little girl. Take the fear out that is so great. Take me out of this mind state. Take my actions that I can't stop. Take the ball that I'm about to drop. Take my pride and help me swallow. Take the leader that I follow. Take away my silent screams and take away my darkest dreams. Take the agony that I've endured. Take the sickness and find the cure. Take my life and turn it around. Take the demons to which I am bound. Take the sadness that's inside. Take the tears that I cry. Take the secrets that I keep. Take all the nights that I can't sleep. Take the rage that I release. Take my problems, make them decrease. Take the trouble that I've caused others. Take the doubt that's starting to smother. Take the untrusting spirit inside. Take the parts of me that I try to hide. Take my legs so I can't run, so I can face everything I've done.
Wow, that's powerful. That is just like your life right there in a poem. And Emily had shared with me when we were talking, and she sent me her story. And of course, I can't go through all of her story with you, but I'm going to let her touch on the parts that she wants to touch on today. Because there's some really intense things. And like I said, at 34 years old, she's endured some things that some people wouldn't endure in a lifetime. But I want us to begin, Emily, when you were 6 years old. And up until that point, life was pretty good.
Oh yeah, my life was great until 6 years old. I was, happy and healthy, just a normal kid. Had no problems in the world, and at 6 years old, my mother passed away, and it just left me just really confused. I really didn't know which way to go and what to do. I wasn't given any counseling. I wasn't. Everything was just acted like it just didn't happen. It was just kind of shut up. Everything of hers was gone. Just overnight, my life changed in a flash. And I didn't know how to cope, what to do, where to go. During that time, I was just lost and scared and confused. My dad got remarried when I was 7 years old, and things changed drastically then. Everything I was used to wasn't like it was.
Mm-hmm.
It just all changed overnight, and I wasn't allowed to talk about anything. I wasn't allowed to cry from my mom being passed away. I wasn't allowed to cry about it. I was just told that, well, she's gone. She's not coming back. She's dead. Get over it. And at 6 and 7 years old, you don't know
Right.
what that means and how to handle it. And so it just led to many years of me just being confused, not knowing how to deal, not knowing how to cope with my emotions and feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I couldn't express them. I couldn't talk to people. I couldn't let it out in any way. So
So, there you are, 6 years old. Your mom dies, and I understand she did have cancer, but the cancer was not the ultimate cause of her death.
no, she was given 6 months to live. It would have led to her death, but she actually ended up bleeding out 2 weeks after she found out she had cancer, and so that's what actually led to her death.
Well, I had originally, when we talked, I had said I was going to read this next poem, but I want you to read it. The title of this poem is called Trapped. I want us to stop right here, and then we'll pick back up when you read this poem here.
Okay, this one's called Trapped. I'm trapped in anger and I don't know why. I want to kiss this world goodbye. I say I'm happy, but it's a lie. Will I be trapped forever? I'm trapped in sorrow, and this I see. Happiness is far from me. Drugs is all I will ever need. Will I be trapped forever? I'm trapped in lust, and that's for sure. My life is anything but pure. My thoughts are too much for me to endure. Will I be trapped forever? I'm trapped in sadness, and this I know. I can't take another blow. Depression has got me down so low. Will I be trapped forever? I'm trapped in hatred, and I don't care. My life is not going anywhere. This is too much for my soul to bear. Will I be trapped forever? I'm trapped in guilt, and it never goes away. I doubt if I make it through another day. Trying to do everything my way. Will I be trapped forever? I'm trapped in shame, and I hang my head. I think I would be better off dead. I'm ashamed for the life I've led. Will I be trapped forever? I'm trapped, and don't see a way out. My heart and soul is full of doubt, and this is what my life is about. Will I be trapped forever?
Wow. We just need to stop and think about that for a second. Because there's somebody listening to this program today and you feel the same way. Will you be trapped forever? And so, Emily, at the age of 12, you started looking for a way out of this trap. and maybe that was probably before you ever even wrote this poem. But you started a new thing. Tell us about that.
Well, I discovered what most people refer to as cutting, and I, at the time I thought it changed all the emotional pain to physical, and I could deal with physical because I didn't know how to deal with the emotions and that I was going through and feeling, and I wasn't allowed to express them in any other way. So I began cutting myself and changing it to physical pain, because then I could focus on, oh look, my arm's cut, my leg's cut, look, I'm bleeding, look, this is pain, this is physical, and this is how I hurt. And it was just a way to numb everything inside.
To make it physical and it wouldn't be emotional.
Exactly.
And so when most young girls are just discovering boys and really junior high school, at the age of 14, you began a new habit again.
Oh, yes, I was still searching because the cutting only, minimized things for a bit. It wasn't permanent or anything, and so I started using drugs, recreationally at first, just dabbling in and out of, little, marijuana, a little drinking, just little things that I guess kids do. It seemed to help numb at the time. Anything that helped me escape reality during that time, I was all for. If you told me that it would get me out of the world for a little while, I was ready to check out. So I did, start creating a drug habit around the age of 14.
So that was kind of where you were in this poem, said, I'm trapped. I'm trapped in hatred and I don't care. My life is not going anywhere.
Right.
So you began to try to find a way out.
Right. Just any way I could check out of reality.
To deal with what had happened in your past. And for those of you who are just joining us, my guest today is Emily Shay. And she's joining us today. And Emily is a poet. And the Lord has truly gifted her to write. And her poetry is her life story. And she began, her life began a downward spiral when she was 6 years old and her mom died. And then at the age of 7, her dad remarried, bringing in a new mother, bringing in new siblings, bringing in a whole new environment, new furniture, everything. And then so you're told, you're a child. It's possible that you were told, don't talk about it, don't worry about it, because if you're talking about it and dealing with it, that means an adult's got to deal with it. They got to talk about it.
Exactly.
It's going to keep it before them. And so you're not allowed to really grieve and know exactly what happened to your mom. So then at 12 years old, you start cutting yourself to kind of change the focus of the pain. And then at 14 years old, you start drugs and drinking. And then somewhere between 12 and 21, you married, and that was a failed marriage. And then at 21 years old, you had a major drug change.
Oh yes, all the little drugs is what I called it back then. All of that didn't work hardly at all anymore. I graduated to the cocaine, to the heroin, to doing the major. I started using IV, shooting up, taking shots all day, every day. I created a major expensive habit, really bad habit.
But the one thing you didn't find in all of that was peace.
I never did. I could never find anything.
Isn't it funny? You have to pay for everything the devil has to give you an artificial peace, when the true Prince of Peace will give it to you for free.
And that's the truth.
Isn't
That's
that
definitely
amazing?
the truth. Because I mean, no matter what I did, no matter what I used, what I tried, nothing filled the hole in my heart. Nothing could help me and make me feel good or better about life, better about myself. Nothing made me feel good. I was always depressed. I was always suicidal. I was always just I just didn't want to be here. I didn't know how to deal with life. I didn't know how to deal with people, with emotions, with everything going on.
Right.
I was never taught how to cope. I was just taught how to deal.
Yeah.
Well, just deal with it. Just get over it.
And
You
so
know.
you're so busy dealing with your own, you didn't know how to help others that were dealing with theirs.
Oh no, not at
That
all.
just created some bitterness and hardness, and probably put up a lot of walls and kept you from trusting people.
Definitely.
And accepting
Definitely.
truth and love from those that could really help you. Then at 23, you decided that you would go to rehab.
Yeah, I thought it was the thing to do. I thought, well, couldn't afford all them drugs anymore and everything. But I wanted to kind of, straighten up and just try to get my life back on schedule and on the road and grow up. I suppose at 23, I was like, well, it's time to grow up. And so I did go do 7 months. I did a 30-day treatment in a 6-month halfway house after that, up in Tennessee. And, I was good for a little while. Everything, was going okay. I ended up moving back and to Alabama and staying with my grandmother, watching her. She was, kind of needing some care at home because she was getting bad off, and so I moved back to watch her. And then when I was 24, she pretty much died in my arms, just about. I mean, she was just getting really bad off, and she was in her bed. She stayed at home until she died, and then, of course, that crushed me. And
yeah, you didn't know how to deal with it because you'd never been told how to process hurt. You'd never been
and
told
especially
how,
death.
Yeah,
I didn't.
yeah.
I definitely didn't know how to.
Probably
deal
brought
with
back
death.
a lot of memories, even though you were so young. That triggers memories in your mind about this has happened before.
Exactly.
How bad is life going to change for me now?
Right.
And so that throws you back into a full-blown drug addiction. And so from 17 years, let's just go back all the way to when you began cutting yourself until you're 24. With these years and around the year of 17 years old, you were suicidal and drove a car into a wall. Tell us a little bit about that.
I did. I would act impulsively a lot. I would just think on stuff. I had a lot going on, and I had been suicidal, but I'd never really tried anything. I always thought that I would just be better off dead with my mom. I could just at least be with her. And, growing up a lot, I would think about it. And just one night, it, just something snapped in my head. And I had just bought a new car. I decided I would just take my seatbelt off and hit a wall at 85 miles an hour and just be done with it. And it had airbags.
Praise God.
Exactly.
So glad it didn't work because you're here today as a testimony.
For sure.
That you
God
can walk
saved
away.
my life on that one.
And then at 27, you did an overdose. Was that intentional or was that accidental?
It was also intentional.
Intentional. Wow, you just really needed a reason to live, didn't you, girl? So then from the age of 28 and 30, you were in and out of mental hospitals.
I was. I'd been hospitalized, put on all kinds of medication.
And that's just what an addict needs, isn't it? Is more drugs.
Oh, yes, of course, of course. They thought they was going to fix me somehow. I got up to, being on 6-7 prescriptions a day. I was just couldn't function, lethargic. I think they were just trying to keep my brain numb. But nobody could help me and fix me. Nobody knew what was wrong with me.
I like what my husband says, Brother Rick. He says there's a shape in our heart that is the exact shape of Jesus, and nothing can fill that but Him.
Exactly.
And no matter what they did, no matter what you took, that wasn't the answer. But I want to fast forward just a few moments here. I like this, some of the scriptures you have written down. But this is a poem that, tell us a little bit about your deliverance.
Well, it happened August 25th of in 2013. I went to this church service. I went into another program. It wasn't for drugs. I had actually been clean from drugs for a couple of years. But I went to this program because I still couldn't quit cutting myself. I still didn't know how to deal with life, and that was my go-to thing, to deal with life, even from age of 12. I know it kind of sounds a little childish. People don't realize 33-year-olds are still cutting on themselves, but it's just the way I dealt. And I went into this program, and it was a faith-based, related program that was going to help. I thought it would help me get my life back on track. Well, they kept telling me that I had demons, that I had many demons, And so I didn't believe them.
This was all new to you.
Yeah.
You talk about demons and spirits and.
Oh yeah, I thought it was all, make believe. I've always kind of believed in God growing up because I was raised in a Christian home, but I think I just really believed in Him to blame Him for my problems, really, because I didn't have nobody else to blame. My mom was gone, then anything that happened in my life, I didn't know who to point the finger at. Well, it's your fault, and you did this, So I think growing up, I think I believed in God just so I could blame Him and be mad at Him for everything that happened in my life. And so when I went into this, this faith-based program, I did believe in a God, but, I kind of really didn't believe in the whole demon thing and all that stuff they talk in the Bible. Well, that was back then, and that's all kind of make-believe is what I thought. And because I'd never, there's many times I'd said, God, if you're real, you'll show yourself to me, or you'll do this, or if you was actually real, you wouldn't have took my mom from me. This wouldn't happen to me, and that wouldn't happen to me,
The blame game again.
Exactly. I was so good at that. And, it was just, I just finally, when I finally just kind of surrendered to going to this church and started, trying to believe in this God and Jesus that people talked about, I had this encounter with Him. I had an experience that I just can't even describe to anyone. They kept telling me I had demons, and I'm like, yeah, y'all are just saying that because y'all don't know how to fix me. Y'all don't know what's wrong with me, and y'all just. But that they could feel heat radiating off of me all the time. Anytime I'd go near the people, and I had this dark countenance in my eyes. They said I didn't look right. And so during church, one Sunday service, I just cried the whole time. And I'm not going to cry in front of people. I'm not going to let people know that I hurt, because I was always raised to don't show emotions. So it was. I didn't let, people see that, and I just could not quit crying, and I didn't know what was going on. And, long story short, they kind of railroaded me up to the altar there at the little altar call, and I always wanted to run out the door. I'm like, no, I'm not doing all this little church thing. Y'all can go do all that, but, that's not for me. I'm not going up in front of the people. I'm not going to be praying. I'm not going to be doing all that. And, so they made me go up front, and they sent a deliverance team up there to deliver me from these demons. And I still at that point didn't believe them. And a lady just told me, just say Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And when I got it out of my mouth, I said Jesus 2 times, and my whole mouth and lips, everything went numb. And I don't remember too much. I kind of woke up on the floor trying to figure out what was going on, what was happening. And then when I realized I just fell out in church, I was like, oh no. I was embarrassed. I thought, oh no, this can't be happening. Like, how did that happen? And still at that point, I still wasn't too convinced that I had demons, but I decided I would just humor them. And so I was like, Jesus, if I have demons, you have to take them away from me. And at that very moment, it was like my whole world changed. Everything went still for a split second. And then 1,000 pounds came off of me. I really thought I was levitating off the floor, as light as I felt. I even turned to look to see if I was levitating off the floor, because I felt so light, just so much just came off of me. And, I didn't feel a pain in my body. I didn't feel anything at that point, and it was like the best experience of my life. I've never felt that high off of any drug. I can tell you that.
Well, I want you to read this real quick. We've got a few minutes before we have to go. And I want you to read. This one is called My Creator. This one has come out of the birth of your deliverance.
It has. I wrote this, shortly after I was delivered, but it goes, here I am, God, I fell again. Please forgive me of my sin. Take my soul and set it free. This is not why you created me. Help me, God, I need you. I need your strength to pull me through. I want to be all I can be. This is not why you created me. Take the blades out of my hand. Please show me your perfect plan. I cut myself so I can bleed, but this is not why you created me. Help me, God, I'm crying out. I want to know what this life's about. I'm asking you to hear my plea, because this is not why you created me. I see your sin and I forgive. I have a reason for you to live. You hurting yourself hurts me too. That's not why I created you. Believe me that I mean no harm. You have it tattooed on your arm. This craziness you're going through is not why I created you. Just be quiet and hear my voice. I'll give you a reason to rejoice. I have a purpose for you to pursue. I'll show you why I created you. Be still, my child. I am here. There is nothing for you to fear. I have a perfect plan for you to do. That is why I created you.
Wow. That's why we've been created. She has one more real quick before we go off there I want her to read. And this one's called Rewind. And now this right here is going to summarize her entire testimony. You think you can do it in like a minute, Emily?
I can try.
Go ahead.
I am a princess of the risen king, 34 years old, and I'm living a dream. Rewind to a couple of years ago, there was a fight for my soul. 30 years old, I hated everyone I met, would never forgive and never forget. Locked in a psych ward, labeled as crazy. Too many pills, my thoughts were hazy. Rewind again back to 27, raced to the grave to get to heaven. A seizure-induced overdose, wanting death was very close. Rewind now, I'm 21, my drug addiction has just begun. Stick a needle in my vein, more to lose than there was to gain. 17, I drove my car into a wall, walked away without a scratch at all. Suicidal, lost, confused, mentally, physically, emotionally abused. 16, kicked out on the streets. 15, also known as freak. 14, trying to find my way. 13, I refused to obey. 12, the razor doesn't hurt as bad. It's the only friend that I had. 10, perfectionist, overachiever, blaming God, but I wasn't a believer. 8, would never amount to anything. 7, my dad gave her a wedding ring. 6, my mom died before her time. 5, a girl cut down before her prime. 4, innocent and carefree. Rewind again to age 3. Fix my hair and put on a dress. Let's pretend that I'm a princess.
Wow. Wow. Just kind of have to take that in for a second. But called Rewind. If you have a child near you, I want you to look at that child right now. And I want you to ask yourself, where will she be when she's 34? What will she walk through? What have you walked through? Whether you're 34, 44, 54, 4, whatever the age, we all walk through things. But the same man that delivered Emily can deliver you, and his name is Jesus. So I want us to pray before we go off the air this morning. Get in touch with me at lynnTministries@AOL.com. Find me on Facebook, Defining Moments Radio Station. I want to hear your story. And I want to just pray with you. So, Father, we thank you that you have delivered Emily. But, Lord, we thank you that all the Emilys out there are going to find the same deliverance. That they will cry out to you, Lord, and that you will minister to them. And that when they realize just how much you love them and they give their heart to you, then they will experience their greatest defining moment.